So 3-102, it says Eloise wants to divide 0 and 7 hundredths by 0 and 4 tenths. She thinks she sees a shortcut. Can I just divide 7 by 4? She wonders. What do you think? Will her shortcut work? Discuss this with your team and be prepared to explain why or why not. So the first thing that I do want to point out is this thing right here. I know I've talked about it before. This guy right here is key to understanding this particular type of curriculum, which right now is not only the curriculum you're going to use next year, but also the curriculum you're going to be using in high school. So the more that I can teach you how to use it, the better off you are in the future when you're in high school trying to do this. So when we see this stoplight right here, this icon, this diagram, it means it's a clue that my friend Eloise right here has made a mistake. And it's a common mistake. It's one that a lot of students make. And so we need to recognize it and we need to help her out and figure out what to do differently so that we don't make the same mistake. So right here, as we're looking at this, it says, what do you think? Will her shortcut work? We already know that her shortcut isn't going to work just based off of this stoplight right here. However, why is it that we can't just divide 7 by 4 in this problem? Think about what we were doing on the last problem. What would I need to do to both my dividend and my divisor to make this problem 7 divided by 4? So I'm going to go ahead and come back down here to my, right here. So we already know that Eloise is mistaken. We're going to be nice and kind to her. We don't have to tell her she's wrong. Nobody likes to hear it like that. But we all make mistakes, and so that's okay. That's how we learn. So Eloise has made a mistake. So right now she has, in the problem she wants to do is 0 and 7 hundredths divided by 4 tenths. Oh, I forgot my. I'm going to change it to a fraction form just because I think it makes it a little easier to see that way. So if I have 0 and 7 hundredths divided by 0 and 4 tenths. And I want to, and she says all she has to do is, she can do it as 7 divided by 4. What would she need to multiply by? Let's make this dude a little bigger. To get here. Well, with my 7 hundredths, to get to 7, I would need to multiply by 100. And for 4 tenths, I would need to multiply by 10. Can I do that? Can a giant 1 be 100 over 10? 100 tenths. That is not possible. We cannot do that. This guy right here is not equivalent to those two right there. That's not happening. This has to be the same for a giant 1. It has to have the same numerator and denominator for it to be equivalent. It's a different value. So she can't do it like that. And I think this shows it pretty well. And so I'm going to leave that there. So for Bravo, determine the answer to 0 7 hundredths divided by 4 tenths and show how you found your answer. So to do this, we're going to go back over here. So what we're going to do is, on this problem for Bravo, is that I need to set up the long division to do this. Now, when I do this, I can either have 0 and 0/7 divided by, so what I could have instead is I can multiply by 10 in both my numerator and denominator like this, and I can get 0 and 7/10 divided by 4, or some students pointed out we could also multiply by 100 over 100 and get 7 over 40 like this. I don't really want to have 40 as my divisor though. If I'm going to have to do long division, I like for it to be a little easier than that if I have control over it. So how we set up our long division, I'm going to show you in the next video clip, because I think this guy's getting a little long.